please lend your attention right now, because what I am about to share is far more than ordinary information. It is something that can be absolutely crucial for your survival in a world full of hidden psychological traps. There are people in this world who go far beyond simply disliking you or competing with you. They actively want to see you fail completely. Some of them would honestly prefer that you were not even present in their lives or their social circles at all. If you are not deeply attentive, if you fail to recognize the quiet warning signs, you may walk directly into the traps they have carefully prepared for you. You might be smiling confidently while they position themselves to strike you from behind without warning. This is not about becoming paranoid or suspicious of everyone around you. It is about understanding basic human psychology and protecting your peace. Narcissists, especially those with deeply rooted internal issues, often operate with a level of hidden hostility and cold calculation that genuinely kind people struggle to imagine. The troubling reality is that your own goodness can make you highly vulnerable to these tactics. Today, we will look closely at 6 hidden indicators, 6 subtle markers that can appear in even the smallest daily behaviors. These signs reveal when a narcissist does not merely resent your success, but may genuinely wish to see your ultimate downfall. Learning to recognize these signals right now can help you protect your life. In many cases, it may preserve your psychological well-being, your social standing, and even your physical safety. Stick with me because the threat can be very real and you cannot afford to miss a single one of these warning signs. One of the most disturbing aspects of narcissistic behavior is how they transform your best qualities into dangerous tools against you. This process is often so subtle that many people fail to recognize it until significant emotional damage has already been done. Think about this carefully as we move forward. The qualities that make you admirable to the rest of the world, the traits that form the very foundation of your internal strength, are exactly what they target. Your kindness, your loyalty, your deep empathy, your endless forgiveness, and your natural willingness to see the good in others are the exact traits a narcissist identifies and exploits. They do not do this accidentally or by coincidence. They do it deliberately, strategically, and almost instinctively, like an apex predator tracking its prey in the wild. They recognize your good nature, the way a shark senses a single drop of blood in the deep water. When you are kind, they lean heavily on that kindness every single day. They do not respond with gratitude, but with a massive sense of entitlement. Before long, you may find yourself agreeing to things you never wanted to accept in the first place, because your kindness has been transformed into a heavy chain that completely restricts your own personal freedom. They watch your reactions. They measure your tolerance. They map out your boundaries just to see how far they can push before you break. Pay close attention here, because this is where the trap closes tightly around you, and breaking free requires seeing the mechanism clearly before your energy is entirely drained. When you are a loyal person, they will repeatedly test the absolute limits of that loyalty to see how much you can take. They break your trust again and again simply to discover how much disrespect you will tolerate before finally walking away from them. Because you value loyalty deeply, you hesitate to leave the relationship or the job. You constantly create logical explanations for their terrible behavior. You tell yourself that maybe they will improve over time. Maybe they did not intend to cause you any real harm. Maybe somehow, if you think about it, it is actually your own fault. They understand this internal struggle perfectly. In fact, they rely on it to keep you trapped. If you are naturally forgiving, a narcissist sees that forgiveness not as a beautiful virtue, but as a free resource to be fully exploited until it runs dry. They hurt you deeply, offer a shallow apology, then hurt you again using the exact same pattern. They use your willingness to forgive as a revolving door through which their mistreatment can pass endlessly without any consequences. Sometimes they even frame your hurt as your own responsibility. If you were truly a forgiving person, they suggest, you would simply move on and let it go completely. You struggle internally because you genuinely believe in second chances, sometimes even third, fourth, or fifth chances. What you often fail to realize until much later is that your forgiveness has stopped being a gift. It has been twisted into permission for them to continue breaking you down. Your empathy, the beautiful quality that allows you to understand others and connect with their pain, becomes a playground for toxic manipulation. They exploit that empathy by constantly portraying themselves as the ultimate victims in every scenario. They draw out your compassion and take advantage of your natural desire to care for others who are hurting. They cry when it serves their strategic interests. They become angry when it benefits their narrative. They collapse emotionally when it achieves their specific goals. Each time this happens, you feel compelled to rescue them, support them, or shield them from the real consequences of their actions. Yet, when the situation is reversed, and you are the single one who needs understanding, they disappear completely. They withhold the very empathy they demanded from you when they were down. This extreme imbalance is not accidental at all. It is built directly into the dynamic of the relationship. Even your determination to see the best in people can become a massive liability. You overlook obvious warning signs because you remain committed to believing in their potential goodness. You explain away their cruelty as mere stress. You dismiss their blatant dishonesty as a simple misunderstanding. You reinterpret their controlling behavior as deep concern or true care. This is exactly where the narcissist thrives and expands their control over your mind. They know you will alter your perception of reality to preserve your ideals and keep the peace. They know you may sacrifice your own peace of mind to maintain the false image of who you believed they were. They know you will rewrite the story in your head to keep hope alive. And every time you do, their toxic influence over you grows stronger. This is the central psychological maneuver you must understand. They do not attack your obvious weaknesses, because those would be far easier for you to recognize and defend against. Instead, they gradually erode the very qualities that make you strong and unique. They convince you to question whether your kindness is just being naive, whether your loyalty is foolish, whether your forgiveness is a sign of weakness, and whether your empathy is simply self-betrayal. Over time, you stop trusting your own best qualities completely. You begin viewing your greatest strengths as fatal flaws. When you lose confidence in your own goodness, you lose connection with the core of your identity. That is exactly how they drain your power, not by overpowering you directly through force, but by causing you to lower your own defenses willingly. The painful truth is that many victims do not recognize what actually happened until many years have passed. They look back at the wreckage and wonder how they allowed it to continue for so long. The answer is often brutally simple. They allowed it because they were good people. Another deeply revealing sign is that they often take far greater satisfaction in your failures than in their own achievements. This offers a direct, unfiltered glimpse into the narcissistic mindset because it exposes not only their deep insecurity, but also a profound hostility toward your very existence. Most normal people experience envy from time to time. Healthy envy usually comes with a sense of self-awareness and reflection. If someone you know buys a new car or achieves an important milestone, you might briefly feel a flash of jealousy, but you do not genuinely resent them or wish them harm. You recognize the feeling, understand where it comes from, and move forward with your day. A narcissist responds entirely differently to your moments of growth. To them, your success represents a direct threat to their survival. It disrupts the fragile narrative they have created about themselves as superior, exceptional, and far above everyone else in the room. Every single achievement you make does not simply bother them, it wounds them deeply. It damages the illusion they work so hard to maintain every single day. As a direct result, rather than celebrating their own victories, they often invest massive amounts of emotional energy in celebrating your defeats. Watch closely, because this next dynamic changes everything you thought you knew about support. Watch carefully when things go wrong for you. When you make a mistake, their expression may subtly brighten for a split second. Their attention sharpens instantly. Their voice changes to a lighter tone. If you fail at something important, they rarely provide genuine, actionable support. Instead, they struggle to conceal their deep satisfaction. Sometimes they even pretend to comfort you while privately enjoying your disappointment and pain. This is exactly why their praise often feels completely hollow, and their sympathy feels strangely artificial. Deep down inside, they are waiting for your life to take a negative turn, because your setbacks instantly restore their sense of superiority. This is also why many narcissists become subtle saboteurs in your professional and personal life. They do not merely wait for failure to arrive naturally. They actively increase the chances of it happening to you. They plant doubts in your mind right before you make major decisions. They weaken your confidence before important opportunities. They create chaos, confusion, distractions, and instability at critical moments when you need to focus. Then, when things inevitably go wrong, they experience a double reward. They get to watch you struggle while knowing secretly that they played a role in causing it. To them, honest competition is completely unnecessary when manipulation can easily produce the outcome they want. The victory feels infinitely more satisfying to them when it comes directly at your personal expense. Even in everyday situations, the pattern remains visible if you know what to look for. Share good news with them, and they will quickly minimize it or redirect the attention toward themselves entirely. Share bad news, and suddenly they become highly engaged, intensely interested, and unusually attentive to every detail. It can feel as though your pain literally energizes them. They ask deep questions, encourage you to elaborate on the misery, and keep the discussion focused on your disappointment for as long as possible. Meanwhile, when you achieve something truly meaningful, they rush past it, change the subject completely, or offer compliments that contain a subtle, sharp sting of criticism. You leave those conversations feeling deeply confused, wondering why your accomplishments seem smaller every time you discuss them with this person. That confusion is not accidental at all. It is the calculated result of gradual psychological erosion. One of the strongest indicators is their absolute obsession with comparison. Narcissists constantly keep score in a game only they are playing. They measure themselves against everyone around them and feel compelled to be ahead at all costs. But rather than improving themselves through effort and genuine growth, they always prefer reducing the status of others to feel big. If they cannot rise higher through merit, they will attempt to pull others lower through malice. If they cannot outshine you directly, they celebrate when your light becomes dimmer due to life circumstances. This is why they spread nasty gossip. This is why they start rumors. This is why they sometimes deeply enjoy the misfortune of people they publicly claim to care about. It is not random cruelty. It is a survival strategy rooted in a distorted worldview where every success they witness feels like a personal attack on their character. The most dangerous part is that they cannot openly reveal this dissatisfaction without exposing who they really are to the world. So they communicate it indirectly through micro-expressions. A smirk they quickly try to hide when you share bad news. A seemingly harmless remark that lands like a sharp blade in your chest. A moment of heavy hesitation before offering a cold congratulations. These are small signals that reveal far more than the words they speak aloud. A strange, heavy silence at a moment when any ordinary person would offer encouragement. Over time, you begin to notice these tiny reactions, and they start to trouble your spirit. You start wondering whether the person beside you is secretly hoping you fail completely. That uncertainty slowly erodes relationships from the inside out, creating a feeling of total isolation. This heavy state of isolation and self-doubt is exactly where the narcissist wants you to remain. They need you uncertain, self-doubting, and completely disconnected from genuine support systems. Their celebration of your failures is not merely cruel. It is their primary emotional fuel. It reinforces their sense of superiority, restores their fragile feeling of control, and feeds their deep contempt toward you. At the same time, it exposes a profound inner emptiness that they can never truly fill. Someone who possesses real strength, real capability, and genuine self-respect does not need others to fail in order to feel significant in this world. A narcissist absolutely does, and that hunger is completely endless. Your setbacks will never satisfy them for very long. They will continue looking for the next collapse, the next mistake, the next piece of evidence that you are not better than they are. They also turn silence into a terrifying form of psychological warfare. Most people think of communication as words, arguments, or loud discussions. With a narcissist, however, silence can be just as powerful and destructive as speech. They use it to destabilize your mind, gain total control, and shift the balance of power without saying a single word. This is not the silence of peace, healing, or reflection. It is the silence of cold strategy. They wield it with precision, almost like a marksman using a weapon carefully, deliberately, and with the sole intention of causing maximum discomfort. When a narcissist becomes silent, it is rarely accidental or due to being tired. They stop communicating not because they have nothing to say, but because they know exactly what you will do in response. They know your mind will race at 100 miles an hour. They know your anxiety will rise to unbearable levels. They know you will replay recent conversations over and over, searching for what you might have done wrong. Their silence pushes you deep into a state of self-doubt, as though you are being judged without ever being told the accusation against you. You are left asking yourself if you said something offensive, if you did something wrong, or why they won't simply respond to you. The narcissist depends on this spiral because every moment you spend questioning yourself is a moment they gain more psychological leverage in the relationship. The silent treatment is perhaps the most recognizable example of this toxic tactic. They withdraw emotionally and sometimes physically, leaving you in a blank space of total uncertainty. Hours, days, or even weeks may pass without a single word of explanation. During that time, they are not wondering how you feel. They usually know exactly how much you are hurting. That discomfort, nervousness, and desperate need for resolution become part of the power dynamic they are creating to dominate your life. By refusing to communicate, they make you chase them. They condition you to beg for small fragments of attention. They push you to lower your own sense of worth, just to restore the connection. What begins as their withdrawal often ends with your desperate pursuit. In that reversal lies their massive advantage. Silence can also occur right in the middle of an active conversation. You might be speaking honestly, sharing something deeply personal, when they suddenly shut down completely. Not with anger, not with an argument, just a blank, unmoving wall of indifference. Your words are left hanging in the air without a single shred of acknowledgement. This indifference can feel crushing because human beings are wired to seek response and recognition from those they care about. By denying you even the simple acknowledgement of your voice, they communicate that your feelings do not matter, your thoughts do not matter, and you do not matter at all without speaking a single syllable. Silence may also be timed to maximize your insecurity. After a major disagreement, when most people would try to resolve things or at least talk them through, they go completely quiet. Not because they need space to calm down, but because they know you desperately want closure. Their silence stretches your discomfort until you can no longer tolerate the tension. Many people eventually apologize for things they didn't even do, simply to make the tension end. In that way, the narcissist can win a conflict without ever arguing, because their silence pressures the other person into complete surrender. Even in group settings, silence can become highly aggressive. A narcissist may completely ignore you in front of others while being warm, engaging, and laughing with everyone else in the room. That intentional exclusion can hurt far more deeply than direct insults ever could. It sends a silent social signal that you are unworthy of attention, that you are completely invisible to them. It isolates you emotionally and socially at the same time, often affecting how others in the group perceive your worth. What makes this tactic so incredibly damaging is that it directly exploits a basic human instinct. We are programmed to interpret silence as highly meaningful. In close relationships, silence often signals that something is wrong, and our natural impulse is to repair the connection immediately. The narcissist hijacks that beautiful impulse. You work harder, you give more of yourself, you compromise your boundaries further, all to escape the unbearable silence. Each time you do this, you reinforce their dominance and teach them that silence will always get them exactly what they want from you. Over time, this weaponized silence conditions your behavior. You begin to expect it, fear it, and avoid anything that might trigger it, losing yourself in the process.